Well, Brad, thank you very much. And Alexandre, congratulations. You know, I've been thinking about le coquette, the rooster. And it occurs to me, in giving this toast to freedom, that there is no apter symbol of the liberty movement than the humble chicken. Gallus, Gallus domesticus. You might think it an unprepossessing, unpromising, unpropitious symbol. Chickens, and I say this as somebody who grew up on a chicken farm, are not a majestic or magisterial bird. They are scrawny, they're dirty, they are unbelievably stupid, they have mean little reptilian eyes, they're unhygienic, and frankly speaking, you know, they're not exactly the eagle, are they, of the American crest. And yet, under their feathery bellies, they incubated freedom. First of all, in the most direct sense. This is the Atlas Network, so I'm guessing most of you know the story of how you came to be here. The meeting of Antony Fisher with Hayek, and Hayek saying to him, no, I'm not going to give you my benediction to become a politician, go and make a lot of money, right? You're all familiar with the story. He's the spiritual founder of our movement and the biological founder of your chairman, in the sense of being the father of the wonderful Linda, and thank you very much to her for the work that she does. But think of what happens. So he gets the nod from Hayek, go and make money. And he hits on this new idea, which was then a revolutionary new technology, that chicken meat, instead of being a byproduct of eggs, is something that could become a source of protein for everybody. The broiler chicken, the chicken raised purely for meat, and suddenly meat came within reach of the masses. As recently as 1928, in this country, the richest country on earth, the Hoover Republicans were standing on the platform, a chicken in every pot. It was still a luxury less than 100 years ago, and now it's become this mass source of protein. And the reason I want you to dwell for a moment on what the chicken has done for people is because it is the ultimate refutation of the charge that is thrown at the pro-market movement by the other side down the ages, namely that somehow we are on the side of the rich, we're on the side of privilege, we're on the side of the entrenched powers that be. How many times have you heard people say, oh, you guys and your theory of trickle-down economics, right? You've all got, I guess you all speak to lefties sometimes. You must have all had this occasionally thrown at you, you and your failed theory of trickle-down. Has anyone in the world ever met anyone who actually believes in something as fatuous as trickle-down economics? Has there ever been an economist who says, yeah, you know, the best way to boost an economy is to give more money to the rich to buy more Lamborghinis with, right? You type trickle-down economics into Google and you find debunked, false. What you won't find is a single person ever having suggested such an idiotic idea. It is a total fantasy of the other side that anyone has ever proposed it. But you know what Antony Fisher's story tells us? It's the power of trickle-up economics. How did he make his money? By making the lives of lots of poor people a little bit better. And that's the real genius of the capitalist system. The way that you get ahead, the way that you succeed, the way that you flourish is not, as under every other system devised by human intelligence, it's not to suck up to the people in power. It's not to go cap in hand to the commissars or the kings or the high priests. It's to offer a service to the people around you and immeasurably to increase the sum of human happiness by giving someone things that they want through voluntary exchange, if I can use that unsexy and masculine phrase that is so out of fashion. Now, of course, there is resistance in some places. There is resistance, by the way, even to chicken. Do you know that your delicious American chickens are banned from the European Union? Banned because they're washed. I mean, they don't call it washed, they call it chlorinated, although there's more chlorine in a salad than in an American chicken. This is how protectionism still works. The delicious beef that we just enjoyed, thank you, Smith Foundation, the delicious beef that you've just enjoyed would be banned in my country or anywhere else in Europe because it contains the wrong kinds of hormones. Hormones which, by the way, are more concentrated in a single egg than in a kilo of American beef. And how does the European Union justify this protectionism? Well, we know the way people argue when they've run out of any other facts. They fall back on something called the precautionary principle. You know, we can't prove that American beef isn't deleterious to human health. And so until you've proved this negative, it's banned from the European... Guys, have you any idea how much beef Americans eat and how long they've been doing it for? I mean, how much more evidence do we need that it is not harmful to human health? And one of the things that I hope will happen after the United Kingdom leaves the EU and develops its own trade policy is that we will scrap all of these absurd restrictions that prevent our consumers making a choice about what it is they want to eat. Dispersal of wealth. The chicken is the ultimate symbol of how our system makes life better for everybody. As the great economist Joseph Schumpeter once put it, it was always possible for the princess to buy silk stockings. The singular achievement of capitalism is that it allowed the shopgirl to buy silk stockings as well, and indeed chickens in every pot. Think about this. The possession of a hen turns a pauper into an entrepreneur. There is no more free market bird than that little fluffy feathered friend of ours. Bill Gates tells us that possession of 5 chickens in sub-Saharan Africa will make you $1,000 a year. This is in a part of the world where in some countries income is $700 a year. Right? That's the magic of it. Trickle up, dispersal of wealth, dispersal of power. And it's something that brings the world together in these invisible bonds of mutual dependency. Last year, a guy in this country decided to make himself a chicken sandwich. Nothing unusual there, you might say. But this chap decided to do the whole thing from scratch. He ground the grain, baked the bread, slaughtered the chicken, went to the seaside, boiled off the brine to make salt, pickled the cucumber. It took him 6 months and cost him several $1,000s. That is a world without trade. That is the world of self-reliance and autarky that the Greens want, right? 6 months to make a chicken sandwich. We're not talking about a toaster here or a smartphone, a chicken sandwich. And by the way, even that was a cheat because he flew to the seaside to get the salt water, right? If he'd had to design and build the plane from scratch, I think we'd have been talking a lot longer than 6 months. My friends, think of the little miracles around us that the capitalist system delivers that we barely even notice. We become so blasé, we take it for granted. The next time that you stop off in a supermarket and you buy a chicken sandwich, think of what's got into it. Not just the chicken and the mayonnaise and the lettuce. Not just the cardboard and the wrapper, but everything else. The guy who drove it to your store so that it was right on your corner. The lady who kept the accounts for that firm. And then ponder the almost unbelievable fact that that chicken sandwich can be purchased by somebody on the minimum wage for the equivalent of 19 minutes work. 6 months, 19 minutes. That's the miracle of the market. 6 months to 19 minutes. In that shrinkage of time lies all of human civilization. Starbucks and Starships and Snapchat and symphonies, all made possible. You find me one regulation, one socialist policy, one intervention, one subsidy that has done more for people on low incomes than the chicken. And that's why, my friends, that's why we should adopt our feathered friends as the symbol of our movement, modest and inexpensive as they are. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please join me as I give the toast. Let me ask you to join me in toasting the chicken whose fecund and plentiful eggs contained the freedom and prosperity and happiness that we now take for granted. Raise a glass to the shade of the great Sir Antony Fisher and to his seed, and toast the Atlas Network and freedom.